simply incredible appearance once again as Hurricane Kiko is back to Category 4 status after going some internal restructuring. A Category 4 hurricane moving off towards the west-northwest, and thankfully the threat for the Hawaiian Islands has died down substantially over the past 24 hours, and now it looks like that Hawaii might not get really anything from Hurricane Kiko. So right now, our estimate is a little bit higher than the National Hurricane Center's estimate. We've gone with winds of 140 miles per hour based on a stunning satellite appearance. Pressure 947 millibars moving off towards the west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. We were very briefly code yellow on Ticos for the Hawaiian threat, but it has died down substantially in the last 24 hours. And now it looks like that Hawaii might not get anything from Hurricane Kiko. Nonetheless, it is located 1,190 miles away from Hilo, 1,300 away from Kahului, basically, 1,325 from Lanai City, basically 1,400 away from Honolulu, and 1,500 from Lihue, all of those in the Hawaiian Islands. The hurricane looks to pass off towards the north of the Hawaiian Islands now instead of going right over them, so that is very good news towards the Hawaiian Islands. We'll have to wait and see, though, on what they get, though. The hurricane, however, has a very small wind field, though. Kiko remains very small here, despite the owl like what took place over the last 24 hours. And thankfully, of course, no watches or warning, rightfully so, are in effect. I don't really think that Hawaii is going to be getting anything besides rip currents from this hurricane, as the models have shifted off towards the north substantially over the past day or so. So now it does appear that Hurricane Kiko will pass north of Hawaii. Once again, no threat to the Hawaiian Islands regarding Kiko as it stands right now. Though, however, with this kind of thing, the Eastern Pacific tropical cyclones that are over open waters, rip currents is always going to be a big threat. If you do plan on visiting any beachy areas in the Hawaiian Islands, be sure to stay up to date with your local beach statements and contact your local beach authority, or maybe even ask around on the beach. What is the rip current risk for today? I'm sure that the lifeguards on the beaches will know. I'm almost positive they will. And if you do plan on getting in the water, know the signs and know how to combat a rip current if you do get caught in one. They have known to be fatal, even with hurricanes thousands of miles offshore. They can be very fatal and sometimes can even cause fatalities. So the latest track forecast, based on us in agreement with the National Hurricane Center regarding track, we do think that there's room for the storm to intensify a little bit more. It'd be peaking with winds of 150 miles per hour. We'll have to wait and see on that, though. Of course, weakening as it moves off towards the northwest, towards Hawaii, passing off towards the north of the Hawaiian Islands, though once it gets into the earlier part of next week, wind shear rises substantially, and that will induce a more quickly weakening trend as it passes north of Hawaii, and by day 5, it might be very low. We'll have to wait until that, though. So here's our forecast cone. Basically, our forecast is in graphical format. Pushing off towards the west-northwest, you'll notice that Hawaii was, in the previous forecast, was entirely within the forecast cone, although now Hawaii is on the northern side, or southern side of the cone now. Remains to be seen exactly what threat in Hawaii Kiko poses at this point, but if I had to guess, probably little to none at this point. Going to be a safe pass towards the north of the Hawaiian. So Hawaii shield once again active for Hurricane Kiko. We need some help from the comment section here. We got to think of another nickname or joke or something for AMSU. It is once again completely behind the curve. SATCON is as well, although not as much. Though pretty solid estimate from ADT and increasing at the fact of a solid Category 4. NHC went with 130 at 21Z, although they did note that estimate might be a little bit conservative. So here's the WSP3 model runs that we're seeing, courtesy of the 12Z GFS. We are due for a 18Z run shortly, but this is what the 12Z run said. I imagine 18Z will probably say a similar story. With Hurricane Kiko weakening as it passes off towards the northwest of the Hawaiian Islands, remains to be seen exactly how strong Kiko will get in the short term, although I imagine that it will probably peak with winds of 145, 150 miles per hour. I don't think it'll get too much stronger than that. Maybe it might be able to squeeze out 135, 155 miles per hour. We'll have to wait and see on that, though, but I don't really think, once again, no sense of any Category 5 status, I don't think it will be. The reflectivity side of things, I apologize, does indicate that wind shear takes hold really past day 3, and you'll notice that the rainfall threat mainly goes to the north of the circulation. It's mainly going to be due to a lot of wind shear from the south. So that's only going to help the Hawaiian Islands really not really have any sort of threats from Hurricane Kiko. Of course, you might have the very isolated outer bands from Hurricane Kiko that might move through Hawaii, but I really don't think they're really going to amount to too much. Kiko is an annular hurricane, and a very small one at that. So we'll have to wait and see, though, exactly what rainfall threat goes in the Hawaiian Islands. So here's what the GFS is saying regarding the rainfall precipitation side of things. I mean, is it really anything for Hawaii? I don't think it is. But regarding where the hurricane is right now, we could be seeing up to 10 inches of rainfall where it is right now, of course, over oceanic waters. But past the day 2, day 3 point, we might be seeing rainfall totals closer to around maybe 5-6 inches or so. And, as the hurricane gets down towards tropical storm status, it's always going to have these thunderstorm complexes that are going to blow up, last for a few hours, and they're going to collapse. While the thunderstorms are going to be active, you might be seeing, of course, heavy rainfall up to 5 inches of rain. Regarding the Hawaiian Islands here, maybe even 0.1 to 2.2 inches of rainfall, though I think that's probably due just to ordinary thunderstorms rather than due to Kiko, though. So here's what the model consensus is saying right now. You'll notice pretty much none. Maybe the UK Met model run there, that's what that blue line is, take the storm over Hawaii. Although you can see those black lines, the National Weather Center's forecast was a little bit off towards the south end of things, so there might be some more northerly trends needed in future forecasts from the National Weather Center. We'll have to wait and see on that, though, but certainly a decreasing threat towards Hawaii, which is very, very good news. Hawaii hasn't had a hurricane impact in a while. Let's hope it stays that way. They don't need a hurricane after Hurricane Lane in 2018. Let's hope that hurricane shortage lasts for an eternity. Let's hope. So here's what the seas are looking like right now. It's got some waters to work with for the time being, although they do start to drop off a cliff very, very soon. So it's still got some time to show us what it's made of as it moves off towards the west-northwest, but it's riding a very fine line. Now, past day 2, day 3, those water temperatures will decrease a little bit more, which is going to induce a weakening trend along with those increasing wind shear values. We'll have to wait and see, though, exactly how strong Kiko gets in the short term. We'll have to wait and see, though. What beautiful satellite appearance has to be said. Of course, SoCal Observation Plus are only going to be seeing too much, as the hurricane is over 1,000 miles away from the nearest land area, which is Hawaii. I believe it's over 1,500 miles away from mainland Mexico, so it's really out in the middle of nowhere. So I imagine that if we did have probably some recon planes in the storm right now, it probably would find a mid-category 4, maybe even stronger than that. We'll have to wait and see, though. The temperature pause is pretty low, so we'll have to wait and see, though, on how strong Kiko gets. So here's what the track forecast is saying right now. All models take the storm up towards the north. Of course, a few ensembles a few minutes ago did take the storm maybe over the Hawaiian Islands, but really going to be looking at a track towards the north of Hawaii. So not really going to be too much of a threat towards the Hawaiian Islands, but remains to be seen on how those wind shear values will impact the rainfall threat. I really don't think it's going to be too much for Hawaii, though. I'm repeating myself at this point. The intensity forecast remains to be a challenging one, though. Some models are all over the place. Some models want to weaken it in haste. Some model runs do think that it might intensify a little bit. Of course, with the ongoing trend that we're seeing, intensification is certainly ongoing, and I do think that it will continue for the short term. Regarding those wind shear values, you can see just late on the UTC clock on September 7th, it'll be midday in the afternoon on September 7th into the 8th here on the UTC clock. Wind shear values take an absolute skyrockets, and that's really going to promote those weakening trends. Hurricanes do not like wind shear. Water temperatures are going to be fine for now. It can manage over 27-26 degrees Celsius water to maintain major hurricane status if it becomes annular. So it might be a little bit stronger for a little bit longer. We'll have to wait and see on that, though. But relative humidity going to be favorable for now, but decreasing once again once we get past that magical date of September 8th. Simply incredible satellite appearance from Hurricane Kiko. You can look right down into the eye. You can see all the mesophores it sees. You can look right down onto the ocean floor. Not very often can you do this in the Eastern Pacific. It is an incredibly rare and annular hurricane. Probably our yearly small Category 4 hurricane as it goes, as a stone's throw at this point. We've had a few in the past few years. Starting with Hurricane Fernando, I remember back in 2017. So a very, very compact hurricane has to be said, but very beautiful appearance has to be said. Once again, earlier I was trying comparisons to Hurricane Dora in 2023 regarding its appearance and size. although of course Hurricane Dora was a fair bit stronger than this. Remains to be seen exactly how strong in the short term it gets, although Hurricane Kiko does have a warming eye and slightly cooling cloud tops for the conditions that it's in. Once again, from a few days ago, it's doing fairly good. Looking at the visible imagery, simply remarkable. I'm at a loss for words about how visible appearance is on this hurricane. Certainly one for the record books for this year so far. I remember some people were comparing the appearances to Cyclone Vince in the Southern Hemisphere earlier on this year regarding appearance. Remarkable appearance from Hurricane Kiko as it pushed off towards Hawaii. Thankfully, no threat towards the Hawaiian Islands as it stands over the next 5 days.